Good afternoon. Happy Black Friday. I am Bryant Carpenter alongside my man, Shawnee Kid Krofsick. We're coming here from Falcon Field just because, Shawnee, we saw some good stuff here on Wednesday night. Stoddard Bowl, Apple Classic, Carini Bowl, Route 66 Bowl. We've got highlights from all four. And, Shawnee, today's Black Friday, but you know what, bud? It's cold, but the sun is shining. And it's actually pretty sunny from the playoff point of view for our teams, man. We got 4 qualifiers.
Yes, 4 qualifiers, 2 from Meriden, and Sheehan and Southington.
It's a first for us. First time ever.
Yeah.
Both Meriden teams have qualified in the same season. Southington going back to the Double L playoffs after a 1-year absence. Sheehan, like Maloney, making its second straight trip. Shawnee, let's start with what happened here.
Yeah.
Wednesday night, you were at that game. Maloney had a Class L playoff berth locked up. Platt needed to win to get in, and
they win, 36-20. Yeah, this was the first time in the 61-year history that they played the night before, and this Falcon Field was packed. And it was a chilly night. It was a chilly night, and it started off with a Maloney lead. James Tarver was the man in the first quarter. I tell you, the first half, he had 18 carries, 113 yards, and he had a touchdown to start off the game. Platt did respond. Lorenzo Sanson found Keaton Caffrey with 11-yard pass, put them up 7-6. Then I got to see Victor Marquez firsthand. The kid's talented. He caught a pass from Elliott Good. They had a 12-8 lead at the half. It was looking good for Maloney.
But then Platt pulling out a little bit of something from the bag of tricks here. And, it's interesting. Going into these games, we had a lot of teams very clear-cut favorite and an underdog. And a lot of the underdogs would say, we need to control the ball, control possession, keep the other team's offense off the field. And one good way to do that is with the double wing, which Platt wheeled out and kind of caught Maloney by surprise with and had great success with.
It did, yeah. There's something they've been practicing. They knew at some point of the season they were going to use that double wing. And Jake Baker, our athlete of the week, he came out big. He made a lot of carries, and he scored 2 touchdowns to give Platt the lead in the third quarter out of that double wing. And they were controlling the ball, keeping the high-powered Spartans offense off the field. And then they unveiled Roberto Salas, who I was waiting to see that whole first half, only had 1 carry. They kept feeding him in the second half, 16 carries. He was the underclassman MVP. Marquez did add another touchdown in the second half for Maloney, but at that point, Platt had scored 22 unanswered to really take control in this game.
Hats off to Jay and the Panthers. Coach Birdie, Coach Freddie, Brian Frederick. They had their guys ready to play, and it seems to me that Jake Baker, yes, our athlete of the week and the overall MVP of this game, it seems like he almost willed his team to victory.
Yeah.
Now, as we were filming this, it's about midday on Friday, and the game over in Bristol, the Big Bell rivalry, is going to dictate where Platt and Maloney finish in L. We know they're on the road. One's going to be in Naugatuck. One is going to be in Middletown. We're just glad they're not going to be in Madison playing the defending champion Han Tigers because they're a machine. And the neat thing, Shawnee, is if Platt and Maloney win their quarterfinal games Tuesday night, they'll be playing right here against each other in the semis.
That'd be great.
All right, let's move on to our other games that we had this Thanksgiving. The night before, we had the Route 66 Bowl over at Palmer Field in Middletown. Coach Trevor Jones and his Wilcox Indians facing Vinyl Tech, Goodwin Tech, Whitney Tech. And in this game, Shawnee, you had spoken to DeVario Reed a couple of weeks back when he had just hurt his ankle. Yeah. And you're saying how DeVario was talking about coming back. And I'm like, I don't know. He hurt his ankle pretty good. Well, DeVario came back. And he had a big game. Wilcox Tech's first ever 1,000-yard rusher. He scored 4 touchdowns, went well over 100 yards to lead them to a 38-16 victory. And the big thing there, though, is Vinyl Tech Co-op's, its 2,000-yard rusher was suspended. Him and a couple other guys, something that happened, not football-related, all suspended. So the takeaway from this game is, in my mind, DeVario Reed found a way to get back on the field, and some key players for the opposing team found a way to fall off of it. And that was all the difference. Talk about desire and commitment to team. DeVario Reed, capped off a fine senior season. All those seniors on that team for Wilcox, bringing them back. They took the break from varsity last year, and they finished 4-6. Yeah. You know what? That's the best record Wilcox football's had for since going 5-5 in their first season in 2007. So, looks like Wilcox Tech football is here to stay, at least
for
a little bit while longer.
Yeah, no question. We are happy for Davario Reed. Like, you chronicled it very well. We saw him with an air cast and a fractured ankle, I think he said it. I don't know.
It's something where the tendon meets the bone.
Yeah.
There was like a little chip in there.
Yeah,
I mean, it was serious enough that he probably shouldn't have been playing. But, it's one of those deals.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of seniors this happens. It's like, there's no way I'm not playing in what's going to be my last game.
Yeah.
And it was a cold night at Palmer Field, but you know what? He played tough. He played well. Derek Gendro had a good game. Their young wide receiver, Troy Mitchell, had another good night. Joe Jocko, one of the seniors, R.J. Carroll. A fine way to go out for Wilcox, man. 38-16. All right, let's move over to the Carini Bowl in Wallingford, Shawnee. The only game we had that actually got played on Thanksgiving this year. Spencer was there. Spencer was like wearing a T-shirt. He's a brave guy. I'm still in the same layers I think I was wearing that day, Sean. And you know what? It was a good game down there. You talk about team coming back and being relevant again. That is the Lyman Hall Trojans. Yeah. And, Shawnee, I'll tell you what, with their ground game, Austin Ruiz, Lou Ferry, and the boys up front, they controlled possession in the first half. It was tied at halftime before Sheehan took charge in the second half, scored on their 3 possessions, and they wound up going away to a 34-14 win that seals their number 2 seed in the Class M playoffs. We look forward to seeing them, but I'll tell you, Shawnee, Lyman Hall, I was impressed watching them. Bill Wyrock has done a good job down there.
Austin Ruiz, 33 carries, 147 yards. He was the workhorse, huh?
Yeah, and he plays safety on defense, too.
Yeah.
Yes, he is the workhorse, no question.
Wow, yeah. Wes Tersey, offensive MVP, 17-yard TD run. He had passes to Brady McCarthy.
Really, the second half, Sheehan's offense was on display. The number of weapons they have, with Bogan and their receivers, Simmons and Smith, and Jordan Davis. And yet it was Brady McCarthy, the linebacker they bring in as like a blocking back who catches one of the touchdown passes. Yeah. Tyler Ekstrom, another defensive guy. They've got weapons, and we're looking forward to see what they can do in the postseason, Shawnee.
And Zach Kaiser was defensive MVP for Lyman Hall. Another big year for him.
I'll tell you, Zach, what a great interview he did with me after the game. Just talking about his career, his season. And one thing he said, the last thing he said was, he was proud of the way his team played against Sheehan, being a good team. And he's like, now they're basically Sheehan fans. It's like they're going to have a good run in the postseason. We're proud of them. It's a Wallingford thing. And that was cool, Zach. Well done. Well played. A classy act there. Sheehan, Class M playoffs, they're going to be home Tuesday. We just don't know who yet because about this time East Haven is kicking off down in Brantford. If East Haven wins that game, they'll be back at Richatelli Field for a rematch. East Haven was there just the other day on Saturday. Sheehan won that game, but East Haven did not have its top player in that game who was suspended. So we could see an SEC rematch, SEC Tier 3 rematch in the quarterfinals. As far as our other playoff team, that is Southington, Class LL, and we have some highlights from the Apple Classic that we're going to roll here. Southington wins that game 23-13, but Shawnee, Cheshire gave him a battle. First team all year to keep Southington out of the end zone in the first half.
Yeah, no question about it. Yeah, Colby Griffin had a touchdown run, but we have to mention Tanner LaRosa, 2 touchdown runs, 10-yard run, 4-yard run. That really put Southington on top there. But Cheshire kept it close.
They did. 7-3 at halftime, and then Southington with 3 touchdowns after the half. Jamie Lamson caught a touchdown pass from Jacob Drina, who's Southington's offensive MVP. Want to mention Cheshire's MVPs, Alec Friona on defense, the freshman Christian Russo, their offensive MVP. Overall MVP was Tanner LaRosa. As we mentioned, he's closing in on 1,000 yards. Here's another game where we see Southington with that 2 platoon. It's almost like the first half is, I'm not going to call it a warm-up, but they get to the second half, they're fresher than their opponents. And it's the same with Sheehan, too, it seems. They're a second-half team as well.
Another great year for Southington.
Yes, absolutely, 10-0. Yeah. They will host Fairfield Prep. If they win, chances are they'll play Shelton in the semis. We'll see what happens first in the quarterfinals, Shawnee. For the first time ever, we've got 4 games. For the first time ever, Platt and Maloney will be playing in the playoffs on the same night. That's really cool, Sean.
It is cool. I can't wait.
Yes, absolutely. All righty. I am Bryant Carpenter alongside Mr. Sean Crofsick. Appreciate Spencer Davis coming along with us holding the camera on this day. Spence has been holding it up like this for a good half an hour, Sean.
I give him credit. Yeah.
I am, without a break.
I give him credit.
Quite impressive. Yeah. And there's no break for our 4 playoff teams. We congratulate all our teams for a very good season. I am Brian Carpenter, Sean Crofsick. This is This Week in High School Sports, Thanksgiving Football Edition. Be good.